It's loading.
Sending. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the International Student Panel. We're going to start with introductions. So my name is Gabrielle. I'm a senior. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm majoring in geology.
Cool. Hey guys, my name is Rishya. I'm from Dubai. I'm a double major in math and economics, and I'm a junior at the college.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael Gomez. I'm from Colombia. I'm double major in biology and psychology, and I'll be graduating a year early to practice to train with my brother for the Olympics.
So we're going to start off with some questions that we got from a student. How did you, as international students, come to choose William & Mary, and what are your favorite aspects of going to school and living there? So I guess I'll get started. I chose William & Mary because one of my friends from elementary school in Nigeria is an in-state student in Virginia, and she decided she wanted to apply to William & Mary, and I didn't want to go to school by myself, so I chose to apply to all the same schools that she applied to. But it kind of, when I visited, it reminded me a lot of Hogwarts, so I decided that it was the right fit for me. And I think, what is your favorite aspect? I think my favorite aspect of living here is Colonial Williamsburg, because it's a great place to visit.
So I initially found out about William & Mary when I came to visit my family in Texas. The year before we had to apply for college, and one of my uncles recommended it to me because he said it's a small school, it's like a good place for you. I think like it's a good place for you to grow, and it's a great institution. I went back to Dubai and no one knew about it. But my counselors, my school counselors, and all my counselors for college were like, oh no, you won't get in. No one ever gets in. So firstly, congratulations. But it's been really nice going being an international student here, just because of all the opportunities that you can have as an international student, but also just as a student of William & Mary. And I think that is probably one of my favorite aspects, is that you can just be part of anything that you want to, and see yourself grow in any way that I guess you would want to see yourself.
In my case, I came to William & Mary due to its history. Everyone knows our campus is rich in history, and every single step you take, there's going to be a lot of symbolism around it. Every building you go into has a history, and so I think that was very important. In my case, I think the best part about William & Mary is definitely the professors. I work with the biology department a lot, that one being one of my majors, and Dr. Allison being by far one of the most influential people in my life. She's not only a great professor, but she's like a mother to me, and so I've gotten to know a lot of good professors here, and I've learned a lot from them.
So the second question we have is, what were some of the biggest shocks or changes that go along with transitioning from an international location to William & Mary, and how did you overcome that? I guess I can start with that. So I guess I think it's similar for all international students in that it's just it's a very different environment in terms of just country, culture, being really far away from home, and it definitely makes it easier. So William & Mary has we have orientation before classes start. So as an international student, you'll go through international orientation as well as regular orientation. But international orientation really gets you acclimated to William & Mary as a community, and just I think it's a lot more calmer than regular orientation. So it gives you a chance to sit down, go through things. We show you what campus looks like, and then other things that you might want to explore. So I take you to Target, and so you can buy groceries and bed items. But I think that definitely helps during international orientation. Really helps you get comfortable with your environment, and then moving on, and other issues like food has definitely been like something that I've had to deal with, but it gets better. There's definitely a lot of resources that you can use to, like, I guess, you can cook. There are a lot of restaurants around Williamsburg that you can definitely go to. And the public transport is free, so you can take a bus to most places around Williamsburg, and that definitely helps. And I think, yeah, I think it's a lot of just like getting used to things, and it's definitely not difficult, but it takes a while.
In my perspective, I thought one of the most intriguing things that I found was that you actually don't need a car in this university to get around. I am looking at the university does this thing where they have an annual bike sale, where they sell bikes for about, I believe, $25, and like a lot of the bikes are in very good state, and yeah, it's a very good thing that it's a very good system that they have here. So with a bike, you can go anywhere, in campus and inside Williamsburg. Also, another thing that I was surprised with was the helpfulness of Danny Matos and Eva Wong. They're professionals at what they do. They're great at their job, and without them and their contributions to the international students, I don't think I'd be staying here for as much as I have. But yeah, thanks to them, a lot of us are here and we're satisfied.
Yeah, I think my biggest shock coming into William & Mary and living in America for the first time in a really long time in my life, I guess it was just when I was meeting people a lot of the time, they would ask me where I'm from, and then I'd have to have like a whole conversation, like life story about tell them my entire life story, because I didn't really know how to answer the question of like, because I'm a third culture kid, it's like, it was like, oh, like, where am I from? Like, I don't really know how to answer this question. And meeting people was kind of like a whole ordeal for me, but I eventually, got over that. And yeah, it just became easier to meet people when I, joined in certain organizations. So there are a lot of clubs you can join, like sports teams, Greek life, and all that stuff. So it becomes a lot easier once you kind of get more involved in the community rather than just being involved in the international community itself.
What was your favorite freshman class and experience at Wilmer, and why? I, of course, will give a biased opinion of this. My favorite class was Biology 225 with Dr. Allison. She's a brilliant person that makes biology interesting, fun, and is what, like, that's the only reason why I continue with the biology track in my life. Another thing that I found very much of my liking was the fact that the university has does a lot of efforts in order to have inclusion. So, like I mentioned, we have a lot of clubs here, and so you can really just fill out a form and make your own club. And like, if people are interested, they will join you. So you have the ability to express yourself and be part of a group that might be new and that might be joined by other people. So yeah, those are it.
Yeah. So my favorite course at William & Mary my freshman year was a class called Learning from Dubai, and I think it really showcases, I guess, like the liberal arts education aspect of William & Mary, because, well, it's an American and Middle Eastern studies class, but I learned a lot about like basically where I grew up, and there's a lot of issues that I never realized existed until I came here and took a class about that place. I think that really, like, firstly opened my eyes to a lot of different issues, but then also just was very like informative and just very educational, and it was a really fun class. And then my favorite experience, there's a lot freshman year, because William & Mary has a lot of traditions, and freshman year is when you get super involved in them. So these include like orientation, convocation, which is amazing. And the U log, which happens at the end of the first semester, where we basically there's like what he gives our president like.
He reads us The Grinch and Ginger Ambler. She reads us a poem that she writes every year.
And it's a really great ceremony. I think it just like brings William and Mary together as a community, and which is why I chose this place. So
I think my favorite class that I took freshman year was linguistics because my freshman advisor was kind of just like, maybe you should take this class because it satisfies a requirement and it's a cool class. And I was like, okay, great. And it really reminded me of My Fair Lady, which is one of my favorite movies. So I was like very interested in it, but it helped me decide like, okay, maybe I didn't really want to go into linguistics. And that's why it's good to take a variety of classes your freshman year because one, it's more likely that they'd satisfy an array of requirements. And also like you get to kind of figure out, what you want to do.
So our last question is, what kind of international student organizations, clubs are there currently at William Mary? So yeah, like you mentioned, there's a bunch. But I am specifically part of the International Student Advisory Board, so I work with Eva Pong and her and a group of students and I, we work together with her and the Reeve Center for International Students and Studies. We work to advise the president and other offices with things that affect the international community. So I think that board is definitely an essential part of this university. We're able to voice a lot of concerns to people high up in the rankings. So I think that's one of the strong organizations that I am part of and that I enjoy being a part of.
So speaking specifically to international student organizations, I guess the one way that you can get involved with that is like through the Reeve Center. So they have programs such as like the peer leader program where you not like interact with international students, but it's basically like you help new international students like through or international orientation. And then I guess like there are a lot more like things that you can be part of through the Reeve Center. But like personally, if you are an international student that wants to find people of like your culture, there are a lot of cultural organizations on campus. So personally, I'm part of the South Asian Student Association that basically promotes South Asian culture throughout our campus. And in that way, there are a lot of other cultural organizations that I feel like there are enough that you can get involved in that you find, I guess, that fits your needs.
Kind of going off of that, there are a bunch of other student organizations like the African Student Organization. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But I signed up for that because I lived in Nigeria for my whole life. And there's the Caribbean Student Organization, which applies to me as well because I'm from the Caribbean. And that is pretty great because it allows you to interact with people who kind of share the same experiences as you or might share similar histories as you. So it kind of helps you maybe integrate yourself more into the international community rather than just interacting with people from your freshman hall or along that vein. And I guess we also did international peer leaders together. And that was really great because you got to meet a lot of incoming international students and it kind of creates like a bond with them because you're like their pre-orientation aides. So it's really good.
Cool. Okay, yeah, so I guess we can talk about transportation. So the different modes of transportation that are, I guess, like that we can use to get around campus, get around Williamsburg, or even like when you're traveling for breaks. So like I said earlier, the Williamsburg bus system is free for students with your William and Mary ID. So you can get around a lot of places in Williamsburg, such as it's like you can go to Target, Walmart, and like just any big places in Williamsburg. Also, just like you can go to the outlets, which is really nice. So you can go like on the weekend, like on a day, like for a day. Around campus, like Michael said, you can go to you can use a bike, and there's like a bike sale every fall semester where they sell bikes for a very small amount, and they're usually almost perfect for the most part. And then like any small fixes that you need to make is like very easy to do. The bike you can take anywhere around campus, which makes your travel time a lot shorter, and yeah, so that's on campus. In terms of traveling during break, I think that there is a shuttle service that takes you to Richmond Airport for Thanksgiving. Is it for fall break too?
I don't know about physical break.
Okay, so yeah, fall break, Thanksgiving, and even spring break, and winter break, winter break as well. And so basically, it takes you to Richmond Airport, and so you can go anywhere from there. Other than that, you can take the Amtrak that goes anywhere, like it goes to Richmond, DC, it goes all the way to, I'm pretty sure, like Boston. So that's pretty cool. So if you want to go out for the weekend, you definitely can, and it's fairly accessible. Like easily, you can walk from campus to the train station, and yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could add, in terms of like pricing, I think the shuttle is free for students. A train to Richmond would probably be like $45, or maybe 20 to get there, like one way. And then also we have Uber. I don't know if you know.
Oh yeah,
But that's a new thing, which is pretty great because I used to use taxis back in my day, which were more expensive. And yeah, I think that Uber is like pretty convenient because you can just like use your app.
Yeah.
Another big thing that William Mary has is social pages on Facebook. So once you get admitted to William Mary, I believe you're going to be added, or you'll find out about pages like Tribe Rides or other things like that, where people will just willingly post if they're going to a certain place, like Northern Virginia, Washington D.C., Richmond, different locations, and and they will tell you, they'll communicate how many spots they have in their car, and a lot of people message them. I have used the service a lot of times. A lot of my friends have done the same thing, and like it's all William Mary students, very friendly people, and yeah, you just thank them, helping them with gas or food or something throughout the ride, to thank them for the help that they've given you. So those are other ways that you can get around from one.
I also wanted to add, if you are interested in getting your driver's license, or if you want to get a social security number, if you have a job on campus, stuff like that, or if you have like visa questions, you can also contact Ava Wong, and they will email you. Ava Wong and Emily Bailey will email you about shuttles or like trips, like international student trips to the DMV. So I think they have one every semester, which is pretty convenient. If you want to get one at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to talk about bank accounts and like setting up your cell phone, which is nitty-gritty details. I used Wells Fargo to set up my bank account when I got here. There's a Wells Fargo bank here, which is like right on Richmond Road. It's right by the Days Inn dorm. And you just go there and you can set up your like a debit account. And there's also ATM machines for Wells Fargo, which is pretty great because then and they're all over campus. Or there's one in Sadler, and it's good because like they wouldn't charge you for withdrawing money from your account. Cell phones, I think the best network to use in Williamsburg is Verizon because it gets the best signal pretty much everywhere. I know a lot of people who have used AT&T and stuff like that, and it just like you just don't get signal in the building sometimes. So yeah, and I think you can just go to a Verizon store and kind of set that up.
Yeah, so talking more about like I guess cell phones. So when I was an incoming freshman, a group of us doing international orientation got together and made a family plan. And Verizon is definitely the best network to have on campus, but it's also the most expensive. So if you do want well, I definitely prioritize that, like the fact that I would have good network over campus just because it's like necessary to be like, I don't know, reachable. So a group of us, so we were 5 people on a Verizon family plan, and it definitely cut down a lot of costs. So I was like initially paying like $70 for like every month for a plan, but now we pay like 25 to 30 bucks, which is a very good deal. And we'll definitely talk about this more during orientation, about like just setting up a bank account and everything, and like how Wells Fargo is the closest, and it's also just like nationwide. So like if you go anywhere in the world, it's like it's very convenient. And yeah,
you're definitely gonna get more information during orientation.
So
so my perspective on this is a bit different. So I think no matter what bank account you can have Bank of America, Wells Fargo. There's a lot of students nowadays in a lot of places that take like other forms of payment. I know a lot of places can take Venmo now, so as long as you have a Venmo account connected to one of your bank accounts, you can transfer money or PayPal, that works as well. And in regards of the other points, I think I think you can also, there's another option to invest on like a cell phone that that has the ability to do Wi-Fi calling. So no matter if you have AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, I have T-Mobile in my case, it's not a great service, but thanks to the school Wi-Fi that is all over campus, I always have service and I have no trouble connecting with other people.
Yeah, and I guess going back to talking about getting a job on campus, I work in the business school library. I was just a library assistant, and it's a really good job because, like a lot of other jobs on campus, you can just kind of study while you're working, and it really just requires like checking out books when people come to ask you for books. And a lot of the jobs that you'll find on campus are minimum wage, which is $7.25 an hour. But then, some jobs will pay you more the more time that you stay there. So I think Phonathon is on campus, and that'll be just like phoning people and asking for donations or phoning alumni and stuff and asking for donations. And yeah, you get like a raise every semester that you work for them.
Yeah. So in terms of like actually getting a job on campus as an international student, it's not difficult, it's not at all difficult, but you need to have you have to have a social security number. So the process that I went through it can be a little tedious. So I work at 8Data, which is the think tank on campus. And so it is considered an on-campus organization, even though it is off-campus. But what they made me do is you have to apply to have a social security number. And it can be a little bit of a pain, but I guess like patience is important.
Because you have to go there.
Yeah, you have to go there. You have to fill out like several forms. The Reeves Center has to like sign a form thing.
And the closest social security office is in Newport News, which is about half an hour away. I guess you could use tribe rides to get there if you don't have a car. Like I was lucky enough to have my own car at the time that I needed that.
And then but the Reeves Center, like Gabby said earlier, like sponsors trips to the social security office. Like almost, I think it's like 2 trips a semester, or maybe at least 1 for sure. What I did was over some form, I think it was spring break, I was in DC, so it doesn't matter where you get your social security, social security number, but I was in DC, so I just decided to go there because it was more convenient and I had more time. That is also an option, so depending on if you are going to stay in the country at that time, that is definitely more, I guess, like it's easier to do because you'll have somebody to take you, or it's just a lot more accessible in areas like that. I
completely agree with both of you. I think think Social Security is essential to find a job. You can also, on the side, there's like online things. You could do walk talks on the side. I know like there's an application that is, which is mostly based in New York and big cities, but here there's an application called Rover, which you can literally walk dogs for people and earn cash on the side. I know it takes like about 15, 20 minutes and you get $25 to $15 per walk. So there's a lot of things. There's a few services that you can do that you can benefit from by doing a little bit of online research. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to let you know like the other ones.
So moving on, we can talk about like I guess how to get involved with research on campus, study abroad, and like other campus involvements. So for that, I can talk about like my personal experience. So currently, it's like I said earlier, I'm part of the South Asian Student Association. I'm part of a fusion dance team called Afsana. I work for 8Data, which is almost like research oriented because it's definitely something I cared about. It's like an academic interest that I definitely cared about because I'm interested in learning more about international development, and 8Data does exactly that. And I'm part of Branch Out Alternative Breaks, so we basically go over breaks like fall break, spring break. They have a lot of different trips, but you do service, like social justice oriented service, in different parts of either the country or like you can even go abroad for some breaks. It's really cool. And part of, well, recently I'm part of the first year experience office, and just a lot of different organizations. So basically, so to get involved with research on campus, there's a lot of different things you can do. So based on, I guess, like what you're interested in learning about, or like in your major when you do declare, talking to professors that you know / you've taken class with is like the first step, and asking them like if you are interested in their research or interested in any other form of research. I guess like William Mary has like really good like faculty student like involvement. Like you can easily talk to any professor on campus and ask them like if you're interested in their research, you can go like talk to them, send them an email, and see how you can get involved, which is really great. I worked with an econ professor on development work last summer, and it was a really great experience because she did teach me a class, but then she was also just very helpful otherwise. And it's just been a good experience. In terms of other cool organizations, no matter like what your interest is, there's usually always an organization that will fit your need. We have so many organizations on campus. We have the Cheese Club, which is basically just like you just meet up and talk about cheese. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then they have like a I don't know, like an event in the spring or something where they just like talk about cheese with the wider Williamsburg community or the William Mary community. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of like different, like there are a lot of organizations that definitely like in some form or another will definitely reach, like, I don't know, interest you, I'm sure.
Yeah. Kind of going off of that, as a geology major, I am required to do research and to write a senior thesis. But you can also, in any of your departments, like you could do an honors thesis, and just would require a lot more research and would require defending your thesis and such. And going on to student organizations. I think I want to touch back on getting supplies when you get to school, because the organization that I'm involved in, Dormania, we collect donated dorm items at the end of every spring semester, and at the beginning of every fall semester, we sell them back to students for a really, really low price. So that falls actually during your student orientation, your international orientation. So that would be really convenient for you guys if you don't want to go to Target, if you don't really want to spend too much money in Target or Walmart or whatever. We would sell like a mini fridge for like $30 or something like that, and towel racks and like all kinds of like really random stuff. So you can get like anything you need at Dormania, and you can also get involved in Dormania, which is pretty cool because like we need a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, I completely agree with Gabby. Dormania is a very useful event that goes on at the beginning of this year in campus. I have myself used been a customer of Romania and very satisfied. But besides that, yeah, there's a lot of organizations that you can be a part of. Professors are very open to your interests and they're willing to listen to you and not only your interests but also to your problems. There are people so they know what it's like to be a student and yeah, and they're willing to listen to you. Also, I currently work with the President's Office and the President's Aid, and I work with you along with a student development assistant for international advising. And yeah, we try to do a lot of work to speak on behalf of all the students, not both international and all kind of students that come from all over the place. And we try to make amends and reconstruct or reframe and build new things that will work for students.
Any questions? So I guess to wrap up, since we don't really have any more questions, I don't know if you guys had anything else to add. Thanks for joining, thanks for asking questions. And to close, I want to say why William & Mary. Why William & Mary? Probably because it's the greatest community of people that I've ever been involved in my life. And we're all like sharing the same experience and we are all one tribe and one family. So we support each other, even if, you don't really know as many people on campus, you still like feel supported on campus. And also involved in Greek life. And that's like just a smaller community of people that I am completely like supported by, which is pretty amazing.
Again, like Gabby said, just the community you feel, because I know like being an international student can be difficult because you're so far away from home, and definitely how I felt when I first came in. But the friends you make even just during orientation, be it international, just regular orientation, are your friends that they will be there for you no matter what. You can make friends like within 24 hours. You can feel like you have found your group of people, you have found like your home away from home, and that's why William & Mary.
In my case, William & Mary was the place because I think they do an exceptional job to put in around people in a tiny campus like William & Mary. And somehow we find a way to work with each other, do good things, and find out new methods to improve previous things. So I think great people, great professors, and great university. Thank you.
Thank you.